Hello, welcome to the Union Pacific Railroad Geneva Subdivision in N-Scale. My name is Daryl Cruz, owner and builder of the layout, and your host for this video, which is episode 33 of season 2019. This video is an overall update on the entire layout. I've been doing a lot of ops videos and updates on specific areas, and I thought it would be a good time to do an overall update on the entire layout, so you can see some of the progress that's been made, and then also talk a little bit about some of the things that's going to be coming up on future projects. You might find it helpful to reference a track plan as we go through this video. So in the description, I've included a link to my blog and a track plan for the layout. So you may want to open that up and then follow along as we go through the rest of the video. The most recent work that I've done is here in River Forest, which is just outside the East Staging Yard, which you saw at the very beginning of the video. And this is coming along quite nicely, I think. I use Walther's kits for the retaining walls and the overpass. I use sheet styrene for the roads and evergreen sidewalk sheet, which is basically just a sheet of styrene that's scribed in a 5 scale foot grid, and you can just snap off a row and use it for the sidewalk. And it's looks pretty good. It's come together pretty well. Since last update, I've added some trees and some telephone poles, and I still want to do some weathering on the roads yet to kind of pull it all together. I've ordered some weathering powders and some ink pens for doing the cracks and so forth, so I'm going to give that a try. As far as in addition to that, I also need to put in the platform in front of the station here for the passengers to get on and off the metro trains. So that's still a lot of work to do there. And also do a little bit of roads on the other side of the tracks. But this is definitely coming along. Been pretty happy with the way this is turning out. All right, from River Forest then, we head into the Forest Preserve and across the Des Plaines River Road. And this area has been done for quite a while. Only thing that needs to be done here yet is putting railings on the bridge here. And also I need to kind of glue it down permanently. And then this is Maywood. And this is one of the most unfinished areas of the layout. But there will be a road paralleling the tracks on the other side of the tracks, and then a small metro station. There'll be a parking lot there for the metro passengers, and then on the other side of the road will probably be just either background photo background or building flats to represent the buildings in Maywood. And then this is just a general Chicagoland industry here. I need to probably put some trees in this empty space right here along the backdrop. Also need to put a railroad crossing signs there, and also a photo between the two buildings. Some more trees here in that empty space. All right, from Maywood then we're heading towards Proviso. This will just again be Chicagoland industry. You need to make that more permanent there, that building. And then this area is pretty well done, except I need to do something with the backdrops. I have some cement trucks trying to hide the backdrop there, but I'll probably do something with a photo backdrop all along here to kind of make that look more finished. This is going to be some kind of a propane dealership with a loading and unloading facility there. So I've got quite a bit of work to do there. This is a Proviso. There is a little patch job I did right here where the grass looks a little bit greener. I finally patched up the crack. But Proviso is pretty far along. Here I do have photos in the background, as you can see. So maybe just some details to add here and there. I probably will put telephone poles through here. If you look at photographs of that area, there's telephone poles all over the place. Not sure if I'll string wires on them. For that industry in the background there, I probably will put a photo there between the two buildings. And then have the Proviso Tower. This all looks pretty complete. May want to try to hide that road going off into the backdrop with some vegetation. And then this is Proviso Engine Facilities, which is pretty complete. The car shops, I need to do some work on that. I basically just have the building setting there, so I'll need to put some finishing touches on the ground around the car shops. And there you can see the fueling station with some Snyder cranes. Those are the 3 orange and black fueling cranes, and then the 4 on this side of the fueling track are from an old Bachmann kit. Probably need to think of some kind of a sanding structure. Here we can see a manifest train going through. As I'm going across the entire layout, we'll be able to see some trains going through to make it a little more interesting. Right now, as I'm videotaping this, I have 4 trains running, 2 in each direction. Again, so I need to do some background backdrop work there. At least put some vegetation there to hide the joint between the backdrop and the layout. But engine facility is pretty far along and just needs some finishing touches on it. Definitely happy with the way that looks. And then let's see, we have the overpass, a Mannheim Road overpass here. We'll probably extend that parking lot there under Mannheim Road and into this little grassy area here. So we're going to extend that and kind of make it an intermodal storage for intermodal containers and so forth. Needed to put a blue backdrop on that wall too somehow. All right, then from Proviso we go into Elmhurst, which is pretty far along. I do need to extend this road. It'll go to the backdrop and then take a right turn and go back behind the trees. So it won't go into the backdrop, but kind of go behind the trees, and you won't be able to see where it goes then from that point. But Elmhurst is pretty well done. I am going to put a different backdrop in there. Don't like the one that's up there now. So it's something I'll need to do here. I have to do something with photos for the road there. And then also a lot of the buildings need some work also. So some of the buildings, they're all kits, and some of them aren't finished. So I definitely need to go back and finish that up. And then maybe weather the roads a little bit. And then this road also needs to be completed to the backdrop. But overall, it's pretty far along, and I think looks pretty good. Some people wonder why I have the crossing gates both on one side and none on the other side. There's one reason for that. It's a one-way road. The other road is the same thing going the other way. So that actually is prototypical. Okay, so this is a coal train going through. Looks like we're meeting the intermodal train again. We'll definitely see more trains coming against us than we will going with us, just because that's the way it works out. Since we're going westward across the Geneva sub. That lead locomotive is one of the new scale trains C44-9 units. So Elmer's looks pretty good. I just need some finishing touches on it. And then we come across to another area that, well, this area here is pretty well done. I'm not going to do too much more on this area here. That's just some little stretch of green between cities. This is going to be then Wheaton, and this area here is going to be kind of a warehouse district. So I'm going to use a bunch of the Walther's warehouse kits. Maybe kit bash a number of them together, but we're going to have a bunch of warehouses there. And then this is going to be downtown Wheaton. That empty spot just right there on the other side of the tracks is where the metro station is going to be in Wheaton. And then there will be a road going across the tracks, some more buildings, parking lots on this side of the tracks. And there's also an actual park where the trees are, would be a park, and along with some more parking and so forth. These bridge piers here are for the walkway that goes across the tracks in Wheaton. I'm going to use it to hide the holes in the wall. In Wheaton, they used an old railroad bridge and converted it into a bikeway. So we're going to use that. Going to be modeling that to hide the hole. So that's going to be Wheaton. And here's another area that's pretty well done. This is the Rock River. And then from the Rock River, we go into Rochelle. And all this is Rochelle. And this is probably an area that I'm going to be working on here fairly soon. I've worked up to the crossing, which we'll see in just a little bit. And so this is some of the areas that will be worked on in the next few weeks. This is a total logistics control, and then BP oil. So we'll need to put in an oil loading and unloading facility, parking lots for the total logistics control. Heinz lumber will need some work. We'll probably put berms around the oil tanks. Some work on the abandoned passenger station and the trailer park area. This empty space here will be downtown Rochelle. And then this is the just south of downtown across the tracks into a little bit more seedier area with a 1-hour hotel and Patterson lumber, some older businesses, a crossing, and then there will be a road that will go. Of course, have to fix the crack there, patch that up like I've done on other places. Then there's going to be a road going along the edge of the layout here, parallel to the tracks. Here we have the power plant. That's a total mess. We'll need to put that back together and put fencing around it and details. The water tower needs some work. The railings knocked off of it. Probably put cell tower, cell phone stuff there. All right, here's the railroad park. This is going to be 9th Street going across both tracks, and then the gift shop there in the railroad park, and then need to put in the rest of the parking lot for the railroad park. Put the railroad park down more permanently. Do things with the houses in that area there. Now we're going to check out these trains going through. Okay, so this is West Rochelle, just outside of town. Actually, it's in Rochelle still, but on the outside edge. That's, I believe, 1st Avenue going across the tracks and then going into Highway 38. This is an area that I also just worked on, the neighborhood around the crossing. I'm going to use the same weathering powders and so forth on the roads here, draw in some cracks in the roads and so forth, and make all these roads a little bit more looking like they've been used and been around for a while. But this area has turned out pretty nice too. So this is kind of the finished look here in the crossing area. Then you can see the transition to, okay, where it definitely needs some work. So this area here will hopefully look as finished as this area right here. Need to put some photos at where those streets go into the backdrop. I took some photos of Rochelle, of those actual streets actually, so it'll be photos of those actual streets going into the backdrop. There's me watching the trains by the utility shed. And there's a Highway 38 going to west out of Rochelle. And then the interchange yard there. And then we have Del Monte warehouse right there. Here we have kind of an empty field. Not sure what I'm going to do with that. The backdrop looks pretty good. Might put a cell tower. I found some BLMA cell tower kits. So I got 3 of those. I'm going to put them together and put them here and there throughout the layout. So that might be a good spot for one. I need to get some brown paint and touch up some plaster in that little corner. And here we have a Global 3. The engine facilities first off. That looks pretty good. May do some more little detailing there. And then the actual Global 3 intermodal yard. We'll also be doing some weathering of the pavement here. I'm really looking forward to getting the weathering powders, and got some ultrafine marker pens. So see what I can do with making some of these roads look a little more weather beaten. And so here's a good look of the overall yard. So on the right you have the 2 mainline tracks. The incoming intermodal train. This is the 3rd time we're seeing this train. But it is on track 1, then there's track 2, and then you have 4 classification tracks of the intermodal yard, and then the 2 load and unload tracks. So I'm hoping the weathering will not make, that's straighten out the chassis there. Those chassis, by the way, are from Jacksonville company that makes containers. But I want to make the pavement to the point where there's not such a stark contrast between the asphalt and the concrete there. Hopefully weathering will take care of that. So I'll probably remove all the concrete barriers and all these check in and check out things, and weather it as best I can, and then put it back, everything back down again. And I'll do it more permanently then. Here's the checkout lanes. So that's all of Global 3. That's a pretty good size intermodal yard. So all of this here, Rochelle takes up a big part of the layout. So basically Rochelle goes from here, the warehouse area, industrial area, through the town itself, the crossing, all the way over to Global 3. So all that's Rochelle. And then from Rochelle we go into Franklin Grove. So we'll need to do some work here in Franklin Grove, putting in streets and details at the Pitzer and Company business there, and then Here we have the Continental barge and grain, I believe it is. We'll need to do some work here on this farm. That shouldn't be too hard, just putting in some gravel and dirt for the roads and parking areas, maybe put some machinery down. This is pretty well, I'm going to leave this pretty much as it is because there's a lot of room between across Illinois that's just nothing but cornfields, so I'm going to pretty much leave that as is. And then from the cornfield areas we get to the Mississippi River and the Mississippi River crossing. There's the signals controlling access to the Mississippi River Bridge. This is for the most part pretty well completed. There are a few little things I want to do. I still need to repair this fence. It's pretty well, it was demolished in the move. There's a fence here to keep the ships in line when they go through, so I need to replace that fence there. And then also on the top of this bridge here, there was some wiring that goes from those buildings that are on the shore up to the top of the bridge. There's some wiring, so we'll at some point be interested in modeling that. Take a look at the manifest train going across the Mississippi River. But this is looks pretty complete. Just a little finishing touches here and there. If you want to see how this all kind of fits together, be sure to check my blog. I have a track plan posted there. I think I'm going to try and post it on my YouTube channel also, not as a video, but in the community area of my channel. I'm going to see if I can post it. Here's a double crossover. But you might want to take a look at that and kind of see where everything fits together. This is then going to be Clinton, Iowa. Definitely need to do a lot of work here. Need to put a road here, and I need to this road is not very smooth. It has kind of goes up and down, so I'm going to make a cut there and even that out, and so the road will hopefully smoothly go under the tracks here. And then there'll be some more vegetation there on the right, and then buildings to the left. So I'll kind of slowly go from vegetation close to the Mississippi River to then a building. Here's the abandoned passenger station in Clinton, and there'll be some building flats there to hide the backdrop. And then from Clinton, we go into the West staging yards. Now, if you continue in the West staging yards, you go all the way to the East staging yards. It's all the same yards. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Be sure to stay tuned for future videos. Take care.